Ever wondered why early trucks had wooden wheels? You might be surprised by the reason behind it. When we think of trucks today, we picture powerful, fast machines built for efficiency, loaded with all sorts of advanced technology. But here's the thing, trucks haven't always looked like this. Not too long ago, they looked completely different, especially in the early days. The wheels? Well, they were made of wood. You might be thinking, wooden wheels on a truck? That sounds like something out of the history books. And you'd be right. But the story of these wooden wheels is more than just a chapter in transportation history. It's about how ingenuity and practicality shaped the world we live in today. Today, we're diving into that fascinating history. We'll explore why wooden wheels were the go-to choice for early trucks, what advantages they offered, and what their drawbacks were. But most importantly, we'll uncover how these wooden wheels were slowly replaced by the steel and rubber tires we see on trucks today. Trust me, it's a surprising journey, and the reasons behind this shift will leave you amazed. So buckle up, let's go back in time and take a look at how wooden wheels paved the way for the trucks we rely on today. Section 1. The birth of the wooden wheel. The history of the wheel is one of the most fascinating stories of human ingenuity, an invention that has shaped the course of transportation and revolutionized the way we move goods and people. But as with any great technological advancement, the wheel didn't come about overnight. Its roots trace back thousands of years to ancient civilizations, where the concept of the wheel began to take shape. Origins of the wooden wheel. The first wheels we know of were developed in ancient Mesopotamia around 3500 BCE by the Sumerians. These early wheels weren't what we think of today. They were simple, solid discs of wood used primarily for pottery making before they found their way into the world of transport. The earliest wheel-based transportation likely began around 3000 BCE, as the Sumerians and other ancient cultures in the Middle East began attaching wheels to carts and chariots for the purpose of moving goods and people. The key material used was, of course, wood. The Egyptians, too, are known for their contributions to the evolution of the wheel. By 1500 BCE, they were using wooden wheels in horse-drawn chariots, which made transportation faster and more efficient. These chariots were used for military purposes, ceremonial events, and trade. The concept of wooden wheels spread throughout many other ancient civilizations, including the Indus Valley, China, and Greece, all of which adapted and refined the wheel for their own specific needs. In the early days, wooden wheels were often solid and didn't have spokes. They were typically made from planks of wood fastened together, which could hold up under heavy loads, but were not ideal for speed. Despite this limitation, wooden wheels became the foundation of early transport systems, particularly for moving goods in agricultural and industrial settings. Wooden wheels in carts and wagons. By the time we get to the medieval era, wooden wheels were widely used in carts and wagons. These vehicles were essential for transporting everything from agricultural products to building materials. The early wooden wheel designs were effective for these tasks, offering stability, strength, and durability in rural areas where roads were often little more than muddy tracks. Wooden wheels in this era were designed with spokes to reduce weight and improve mobility. As craftsmanship advanced, wheelwrights began designing wheels that were more durable and better suited for different types of terrain. Horse-drawn carts, and later wagons, were common in agricultural and industrial settings, where they played an essential role in the movement of goods from farms to towns and factories. The wooden wheel, with its combination of strength and flexibility, was ideal for handling the heavy loads that these early vehicles were designed to carry. The evolution to early trucks. Now let's jump ahead to the 19th century, a time when a new era of transportation began to take shape. The Industrial Revolution had transformed the landscape of society. Cities were growing rapidly, and the demand for transporting goods efficiently was greater than ever. This was the period when the motorized truck was born, and once again, wooden wheels played a vital role. The first motorized trucks began to appear in the late 1800s, evolving from horse-drawn wagons. The transition from horses to steam engines, and later gasoline engines, didn't mean a complete overhaul of the entire design. It just meant that the wheels needed to be adapted for the new mechanical power. Early motor trucks often used wooden wheels, just as the wagons and carts had before them. These trucks were designed for specific tasks, like hauling heavy loads in rough terrains, where wooden wheels still proved effective. For example, the steam-powered trucks of the 1800s, which were used to carry goods across industrial zones and construction sites, relied on the same principles of wooden wheels that had worked for centuries. The shock-absorbing quality of wood allowed the trucks to carry heavy loads over unpaved roads and through rough landscapes without compromising the stability of the vehicle. Though these trucks were not designed for high speed, their reliance on wooden wheels made them well suited to the conditions of the time, especially in agricultural settings where roads were less developed. As the 19th century continued, motorized trucks gradually began to take on more complex tasks, such as transporting goods across cities and countries. But it wasn't until the turn of the century that the design of wheels would need to undergo a more dramatic transformation to meet the evolving needs of these early trucks. Cost and availability. Another reason wooden wheels were so popular, especially in the early 1900s, was their cost-effectiveness. Compared to metal alternatives like iron or steel, wooden wheels were significantly cheaper to produce. Not only was wood more abundant and easier to acquire, but it also required less specialized equipment to shape and form into wheels. This made wooden wheels especially appealing to small businesses, farmers, and local entrepreneurs who didn't have the resources to invest in expensive metal wheel systems. Wooden wheels were also relatively easy to repair. A truck owner could go to a local wheelwright or blacksmith to fix a wheel without needing specialized tools or expensive parts. In many rural areas, where access to large factories or industrial materials was limited, wooden wheels could be produced locally. Local craftsmen could create or repair wheels right on the farm or at a nearby workshop, making them a practical and affordable option for people living in more remote areas. This accessibility of wooden wheels also played a key role in their widespread use in agricultural settings and early industrial applications, where trucks were relied upon to move goods from farms to markets, or materials from one factory to another. In places with limited access to metalworking resources, wooden wheels were an indispensable part of daily life, allowing businesses and industries to flourish even in isolated areas. Flexibility and innovation. One of the most important qualities of wood as a material for wheels was its flexibility. Wood has the natural ability to bend and absorb shock, making it ideal for the often uneven, bumpy roads that early trucks traveled on. Unlike metal, which is rigid and prone to breaking under pressure, wood could flex and adapt to the terrain without sustaining severe damage. Additionally, wood's durability allowed it to withstand prolonged use in tough conditions. While wooden wheels could suffer from wear and tear over time, they had the capacity to last for long periods with proper maintenance. This was particularly important for the early truck designs, which were often built with heavy-duty components designed to haul large amounts of weight over rough terrain. Wooden wheels worked in perfect harmony with these early truck designs, helping to distribute the weight of the truck evenly across the wheelbase. This balance allowed early trucks to perform well despite the difficult conditions they were subjected to. For example, the early Ford Model TT truck, introduced in 1917, featured wooden wheels as part of its design, and they performed effectively for the truck's specific use cases, like farm transport. These trucks were primarily designed for short-range trips and to handle farm goods. Wooden wheels worked well here because the trucks weren't built for high-speed travel, and the weight distribution of the truck's load was well managed by the wooden wheel's flexibility. The design of wooden wheels also showcased innovation. They were one of the first examples of how the natural properties of a material, like wood, could be manipulated and shaped to meet specific needs. This creativity in design paved the way for future improvements, influencing the development of more modern materials like rubber and steel that would eventually replace wood as the preferred choice for wheels. Section 2. Why wooden wheels? Despite the downsides, wooden wheels were the go-to solution for early trucks due to their practicality, strength, affordability, and availability. In this section, we'll dive into why wooden wheels were not just a necessity, but an ideal choice for the time, explaining how they fit the needs of early truckers and why they were used for as long as they were. Practicality and strength. When we think about materials in the early days of trucking, wood stands out for its accessibility and ease of use. At the time, metals like iron and steel were harder to work with and often more expensive. Wood, on the other hand, was readily available, easy to shape, and could be found in abundance in forests and lumberyards across the world. In many regions, especially rural areas, wood was the most practical material for making wheels. Wooden wheels offered a level of strength that worked well for the kinds of conditions early trucks faced. These trucks weren't driving down smooth highways. They were tackling rough roads, unpaved trails, and rugged terrain. The shock absorption properties of wood were a significant advantage in such conditions. Wooden wheels could flex and absorb the impact from the uneven roads without breaking apart, a feature that was especially important when trucks were carrying heavy loads over long distances. One great example of an early truck that used wooden wheels effectively was the McLaughlin Motor Car Company's 1911 Model C. This early motor truck featured robust wooden wheels designed to handle the tough, unpaved roads that were common at the time. The wheels were crafted with heavy-duty wooden spokes and iron bands for reinforcement, combining the practicality of wood with the added strength of metal to handle the tough terrain. This combination of wood and metal proved highly effective in the early days of trucking. Limited speed and performance. As trucks began to evolve in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, their performance demands also increased. Trucks were no longer just slow-moving carriers for goods. They were becoming faster, more efficient vehicles designed to cover long distances in less time. This shift was fueled by the emergence of motorized engines and the need for more powerful vehicles that could travel across cities, states, and even countries. Unfortunately, wooden wheels simply couldn't keep up with these new performance standards. As trucks started traveling longer distances and at higher speeds, the wooden wheels began to show their limitations. While they could handle heavy loads on rough roads, they were not designed to withstand the constant forces generated by higher speed travel. Wooden wheels had a tendency to lose their shape at higher speeds, becoming unbalanced or wobbly. This could make the ride extremely uncomfortable and dangerous for drivers. More importantly, the speed at which trucks were now traveling put extra stress on the wooden wheels. They began to buckle under the pressure, leading to faster wear and tear and even wheel failures. When you think about it, early trucks weren't built for modern highways or smooth, paved roads. They were designed for slow-moving transport on unpaved paths. The moment trucks started to push faster speeds, it became clear that wooden wheels weren't going to cut it anymore. There was a pressing need for wheels that could handle high-speed travel, provide greater stability, and offer better shock absorption, all things that wooden wheels struggled with. Maintenance issues. Even when wooden wheels didn't fail entirely, they still required constant upkeep. Wooden wheels were not a set-it-and-forget-it type of technology. Maintaining them was an ongoing, time-consuming process that required skilled craftsmanship. The spokes had to be regularly tightened, the rims checked for damage, and the wood had to be constantly treated to prevent rot, cracking, and wear. When something went wrong with a wooden wheel, it wasn't a quick fix. The repairs often required the skill of a wheelwright, a craftsman trained in the art of wheel construction and repair. Fixing a wheel could take hours, sometimes days, depending on the severity of the damage. A wheelwright would need to replace broken spokes, recondition the wood, and refit the rims. For a truck in need of immediate repairs, this was a serious issue. If a wooden wheel broke on the road, it could lead to significant delays as the truck was rendered immobile until repairs could be made. Additionally, while a skilled wheelwright could keep a wooden wheel in good condition for a time, the need for constant maintenance became one of the main reasons why truck owners began looking for alternatives. Wooden wheels were no longer a low-maintenance solution once trucks began to see frequent use. The labor involved in repairing and maintaining them was simply too much for the demands of an industrializing world. where speed and reliability were becoming more important than ever. Section 3. The downsides of wooden wheels. While wooden wheels were revolutionary in their time, their limitations became increasingly clear as trucks began to evolve and the demands of transportation grew. In this section, we're going to explore the major downsides of wooden wheels, including their wear and tear, the maintenance issues they posed, and how they couldn't keep up with the increasing demands for speed and performance. Wear and tear. One of the most significant issues with wooden wheels was natural degradation. As durable as wood may seem, it's still an organic material that is subject to the forces of nature. Frequent use on rough, uneven roads caused the wood to wear down over time. The constant friction between the wheels and the road surface created stress that could lead to cracks, splits, or even complete breakage. The elements didn't help matters either. Wood is highly susceptible to weathering. In wet conditions, the wood would absorb moisture, causing it to swell and warp. When exposed to dry heat, the wood would shrink and crack. This was especially problematic because many of these trucks were used in areas with unpredictable climates, places where it could be raining 1 minute and scorching hot the next. These drastic changes in weather were enough to cause significant damage to the wooden wheels, making them unreliable for long-term use. Think about it. A truck's wheels were constantly subjected to the forces of gravity, friction, and environmental elements. Over time, this wore the wood down to the point where it could no longer effectively carry heavy loads or travel long distances without risk of failure. A single crack in the wheel could cause a catastrophic breakdown, putting the truck out of commission for repairs. This was an ongoing problem, especially in rural or industrial areas where truck repair shops were few and far between. Section 4. The shift to metal and rubber wheels. As useful as wooden wheels were in the early days, they couldn't hold up forever. With the rise of motorized trucks and the increasing demands of industrial transport, a change was inevitable. Enter the metal wheel, the first significant evolution in wheel technology that would begin to replace the wooden wheels. Introduction of metal wheels. The earliest metal wheel systems weren't completely made of metal, but rather featured iron rims that were placed around wooden wheels. This was a clever way to combine the durability of metal with the flexibility of wood. Iron bands were wrapped around the wooden rims to reinforce them and provide better protection against wear. These iron-rimmed wheels addressed many of the issues associated with wooden wheels like wear and tear, damage from the elements, and the need for constant maintenance. However, while iron rims helped, they still didn't solve all the problems. As trucks began to carry heavier loads and travel faster, even iron-reinforced wooden wheels began to show their limitations. This led to early experiments with all-metal wheels, and soon, steel wheels were introduced as a more durable, long-lasting alternative. Steel wheels had a significant advantage. They were more resistant to wear and tear and could endure longer periods of heavy use without degrading. Steel's strength and uniformity made it a more reliable choice for the increasing demands of transportation. However, steel wheels were still relatively harsh on the road, especially when it came to ride comfort. The steel could absorb shock well, but it didn't offer the level of comfort or traction that was needed for smoother, more efficient rides. The role of rubber. This is where rubber comes into play, the game changer that would completely transform truck wheels. The late 19th century saw the invention of rubber tires, thanks to innovators like Charles Goodyear, whose work with vulcanized rubber changed everything. This rubber was different from what had come before. By heating it and adding sulfur, Goodyear discovered a way to make rubber both more durable and more elastic. The introduction of rubber tires on trucks completely changed the way vehicles performed. For the first time, trucks had wheels that could absorb shock effectively, offering a smoother ride on rough roads. Unlike metal wheels, which had a tendency to rattle and jolt, rubber tires provided a level of comfort and stability that was a huge improvement. They offered better traction, which meant that trucks could travel on a wider variety of surfaces without slipping or losing control. This was especially important as trucks started moving faster and over more diverse types of terrain. Additionally, rubber tires were far more durable than their wooden or metal counterparts. Rubber could withstand wear much better than wood, and it was less prone to cracking or deteriorating. The combination of shock absorption, traction, and durability made rubber tires the ideal choice for trucks of all types. The grip they offered on both wet and dry roads made them especially popular for both heavy-duty transport and general utility trucks. The transition period. Despite rubber tires proving to be the superior choice, the shift from wooden to metal to rubber wheels wasn't instantaneous. It was a gradual process that spans several decades, with different regions and industries adopting these changes at different paces. In the early 20th century, metal wheels were still very common, especially in areas where roads weren't paved or where heavy-duty transport was required. These metal wheels had the strength needed for carrying massive loads across rough terrain, even though they still weren't as comfortable as their rubber counterparts. However, by the 1920s and 1930s, rubber tires started to dominate the industry. The comfort and efficiency they offered made them the preferred option for both trucks and passenger vehicles. As road systems improved and paved highways became more common, the need for shock absorption and smooth rides became even more apparent, cementing the role of rubber tires in modern transportation. Different industries also adapted to rubber wheels at their own pace. While agricultural trucks or vehicles used in rural areas were often slower to switch over due to costs, urban transportation quickly embraced rubber tires as cities grew and roads became more sophisticated. By the mid-20th century, rubber tires had completely replaced both wooden and metal wheels on most trucks, marking the end of an era. Section 5. Legacy of wooden wheels and their influence today. Even though wooden wheels have long been phased out of modern trucks, their legacy still endures in many ways, especially in the world of vintage trucks and collectibles. There's a certain charm and nostalgia attached to those early vehicles, with their wooden wheels that tell a story of a simpler time, when trucks were crafted by hand and relied on the ingenuity of their makers. Nostalgia and vintage trucks. In the world of collectors and restorers, wooden wheels still hold significant value. Vintage trucks with wooden wheels are more than just relics of the past. They represent a turning point in industrial history. Enthusiasts who appreciate classic vehicles often seek out trucks that showcase the transition between the horse-drawn days and the modern motorized world. These trucks, many of which are now carefully restored, are prized for their historical significance. For collectors, restoring a vintage truck with original wooden wheels is not just about preserving the vehicle itself, but about preserving the story of the evolution of transport. These trucks, once used for heavy hauling and working in tough conditions, now stand as a testament to the resilience of early engineering. Many of these restored vehicles are displayed in museums, auto shows, or even on farms and estates, where they can be appreciated by a new generation. Whether they're being paraded at a car show or simply admired in someone's private collection, wooden wheels continue to be a symbol of craftsmanship and history. Design influence. It's interesting to note that the influence of wooden wheels isn't completely gone. Though modern trucks have fully embraced metal and rubber wheels, the design elements of early trucks can still be seen in some modern vehicles. While no one is putting wooden wheels on their trucks today, the nostalgic aesthetic and vintage appeal still inspire certain design choices. For example, you'll find that some custom-built vehicles, especially those in the restoration or luxury market, sometimes draw inspiration from the clean, classic lines of early trucks. The use of natural wood, or even wheel designs that pay homage to the shape and structure of old wooden wheels, are sometimes included in the decorative details of modern vehicles. This trend is particularly prevalent in classic car restorations, where owners seek to preserve the beauty of the past while embracing the advancements of the present. Additionally, wooden wheels have had a lasting influence on furniture design, architecture, and even urban planning, with certain structures or installations incorporating elements that echo the past, evoking the enduring spirit of innovation. Conclusion. Looking back, it's clear that the shift from wooden wheels to metal and rubber wheels was a game changer in the evolution of trucks, transportation, and technology. The move to more durable, efficient materials allowed for faster, more reliable travel and opened the door to the modern transport systems we use today. Rubber tires, in particular, played a crucial role in shaping the future of vehicles, making them more comfortable, safer, and more versatile. Without the lessons learned from wooden wheels, the advancements we see in transportation technology might not have been possible. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a wheel, a tool that has been around for thousands of years, has had such a profound impact on our world. From its humble beginnings in ancient civilizations to its critical role in the development of modern transport, the wheel helped shape the future of the world as we know it today. Who could have imagined that something so basic could have such lasting influence? Yet here we are, with wooden wheels, now a part of history, but still part of the legacy that continues to inspire innovation. Outro. We've covered a lot today, from the humble beginnings of wooden wheels to their evolution and eventual replacement with metal and rubber wheels. But now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about wooden wheels? Do you think they were as essential to early truck design as we've made them out to be? Or do you think their use was just a stepping stone to something much more advanced? And as technology continues to push boundaries, how do you think future truck designs might evolve? Will we see self-driving trucks with new wheel innovations, or perhaps something completely unexpected? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed learning about the fascinating history of wooden wheels and their influence on modern trucks, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more historical deep dives and engineering-related content coming your way. If you're into stories about how technology shapes the world, this is the place for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.